Thailand is seeing unprecedented protests by high school students. Energized by recent anti-government rallies, Thai teenagers are seizing the opportunity to demand reform of an education system they say is outdated. Saksesa Sambat tells us more.
They're loud, they're fed up, and they want change. These young protesters call themselves the bad students, not because they're failing their classes, but because they're rebelling against what they say an archaic educational system. Protests are nothing new to Thailand. Recent history is full of such examples. What is new is that the school students are taking it to the streets. While they are supporting the university students' demands for a better democratic country, they have their own sets of demands for a better future of themselves. The teenagers are seizing the opportunity to protest, following in the footsteps of older students who have staged several rallies in the last few months, calling for widespread political reforms. Many schoolyards in Thailand have become staging grounds for open displays of dissent. Among them, the trademark three-finger salute that's become a symbolic gesture of defiance against authority. The young students say they want an education that gives them a future.
บอกว่าจะพัฒนาการศึกษาครับก็คือเหมือนกับว่าเขายึดอำนาจเข้ามาแล้วเขาก็พูดว่าเนี่ยแบบเดี๋ยวจะพัฒนาการศึกษานะจะทำให้ดีขึ้นแต่เราเห็นทุกอย่างมันถดถอยลงแล้วตอนนั้นนะครับเราก็ทนมาเรื่อยๆจนตอนนี้ครับเราไม่ไหวแล้วจริงๆเพราะว่าประเทศไทยมันไม่พัฒนาไปไหนเลย
Thailand has consistently scored poorly in international rankings across major subjects such as reading, mathematics, and English. The most recent results of a global assessment by the OECD of 15-year-olds show Thai students are below average compared to their counterparts in 79 other countries. This is despite the relatively large investments that successive governments have put into the education system, but with little to show for it. Critics say that's mainly due to an outdated curriculum and the almost obsessive need that many schools have for order and discipline.
What they have delivered to the student is more or less something that have been there during the past 50 years. The discipline, the order, but for delivering the knowledge and what would give them the tool to fight with the real world is totally disappear in the meantime. So this is, I think, is one of the problem that you have put a lot of effort to reform, but it's not reached the expectation of the younger generation.
Which brings us back to the protest over the weekend outside the Ministry of Education in Bangkok, the second by teenage students within a month. Thailand's Education Minister Nattapon Teepsawan emerged once again to face a tough crowd and engage in a debate on potential school reforms. They met his promises to relax the rigid discipline in schools, weed out abusive teachers, and modernize the curriculum with skepticism. But the minister himself was optimistic.
Well, hopefully, situation like this will put on the table major concerns for us to adapt or reform quicker, much quicker, to move swiftly in terms of education reform. I can't say can we do in 4 years or 2 years, but I'll do my best to do it within my terms, whatever or how long that would be.
As with most reforms, the process could take a long time. Longer possibly than these kids will be in school. But perhaps the next generation of students will be the first one to see changes in their classrooms. Saksesa Sombat, CNA Bangkok.